before the arenas, before the awards.
This is b4Nashville Live. Have a question for our guest?
Send it to us via Messenger.
Here's your host, George Davis.
And welcome back to Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And if you have a question for our guest tonight, you can get on our Facebook page, Before Nashville, that is on Facebook, and send us a message that way. We have two Facebook pages, but we're just on the first one tonight. So Before Nashville 2, if you're on there, then you'll want to switch over and go to the other one and send any messages. My guest tonight is, as we were talking kind of off camera a while ago, I wasn't quite sure where she was because I had read L.A., Mobile, or Muscle Shoals, Nashville, New Jersey. So I had to ask her, and it is Megan Knight. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Thanks for coming on. Now, where are you right now?
So right now I'm in South Jersey, and this is where I live. This is where my home is.
Okay.
But the story is I travel all the time to Nashville and Alabama to record and write. So I'm actually headed to Muscle Shoals next week for some writing sessions, which I'm super excited about.
Great place to go to write because of the history of Muscle Shoals. I mean, just amazing.
It's like something runs in the water there because you'll literally be walking down the street and somebody will whip out their guitar and start playing. And the amount of talent in the entire population there is unreal. I'm talking about, you know, the guy working at the bar or, you know, the lady running the store on the strip or whatever. They're unreal. All of them play, all of them sing. And it's just a whole other level that I've never seen really before until I was there.
Wow. It's kind of like Nashville, but it's not Nashville.
Yeah, it's a different vibe. I love Nashville too.
Right.
But it's more of like a soul type of genre there where when they sing, it's like you're ready to cry because it's so emotional and captivating, which I love the stuff in Nashville too, but it's just a little different in a way.
Right. So tell me a little bit about growing up, what got you to the point of doing music and, you know, kind of leading up to that point?
So I've always loved singing since the beginning of time because my parents always had music playing in the house and my mom loved watching any show or movie music related. So I always naturally was into singing and I did theater camps in the summer and never like thought of pursuing it or anything. It was just like for fun. And then Rock Band came out. I don't know if you remember that game, but I loved it. And I loved how you could customize the hair, the makeup, the outfits. I was like, that is cool. I want to learn how to play drums. And then I realized how much effort it took to set up drums and play. So I picked up a guitar and taught myself. And that's kind of how I got started.
That's funny because I actually used to play drums when I was younger and I have a set behind me and about once a week I have to readjust. It's an electric set. So I've got it like on the rack, you know, and some piece of it will lean a little bit.
Oh my God. That's all
Like,
I want. Because my parents also said they're way too loud. That's why they didn't want me to play either. And then the neighbors and all, I'm like, well, if you get me like an electronic kit with some headphones, I can at least learn and then we can apply it to the real one. And they're like, okay, maybe one day, but I don't
I love my electric ones. My wife loves them too. So
Right? Like magical. It's amazing what technology can do.
I know, right? So as you're growing up, you're going through theater camps and you're doing all this stuff and you find out that you want to get into music and you actually released an EP at the age of 14.
Yes.
Tell me about that EP.
So my career kind of started with my first vocal coach, Chris Flaherty. I will forever honor that man. I swear he's the reason why I'm still pursuing music to this day. But I actually recorded my first EP that you can't find anywhere with him. So it was 3 songs. And that's what I would go around playing gigs with. And that would be like, you know, that was the CD time too, where CDs are very prominent. I'm like, but I had my CD and I remember one random gig. It was like this backyard party. Somebody's like, oh, can I like send your stuff to Alabama? I know some people there. And of course, you always hear stuff, even it was only a year in of me playing, but I was like, sure, but I wasn't expecting anything. And who he sent it to was Gary Nichols, who had a deal at Mercury for a while. And then he was the front man of the Steel Drivers for a long time after Chris Stapleton left the band.
Right.
And it actually worked out. That's how I started making my relationship down in Muscle Shoals. And that's when I recorded that first 2014 like record. So that was my first experience writing there. I wrote a lot of the songs with Gary Nichols on that. And that's what got me, into the little Muscle Shoals fam.
Wow. And it's such a cool, I mean, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Go Tuners, real quick. It's an amazing tuner, but the gentleman that owns it, he's a friend of mine. He's a producer in Muscle Shoals.
I wonder if I know him.
His name is Mike Mostert.
It sounds familiar.
I don't remember what studio he does a lot of his work at, but he also has a band called In Theory, which is kind of a rock band. And they're kind of if you listen to some of their songs, they kind of have a Led Zeppelin sound to them.
They love Led Zeppelin down there. Everybody's inspired by Led Zeppelin in that town. It's crazy.
And that's so funny because the stuff that I've heard from these guys is just really good. And Mike's a guitar player, amazing guitar player. I mean, he plays like all the guitars on the album and stuff, and they sound so good. And he was explaining me how he did it tuned the guitar into a blues tuning. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds good
there. And you know what, when you start messing around with alternate tunings on the acoustic, especially where it gets that open sound, it changes the game. Like, I will tell you right now, when I started getting into like Dadgad and everything, so magical. It keeps it from becoming monotonous. There's like so many chords on a guitar, and then this opens up like whole other spectrums, and you're like, whoa, this is like very inspiring. So that's cool.
Just some really, really cool stuff. But Go Tuners is our sponsor tonight, so we want to give a big shout out to Mike and all the gang over there. And if you're looking for a great tuner, go check them out, gogotuners.com. I'm supposed to do that at the beginning of the show, and we just jumped right into it. But so tell me, after you get your first EP recorded and you're going around playing, and then you get into the Muscle Shoals family. So you're like 14, 15 when you get into the fam in Muscle Shoals?
Yeah, I was 14 when I started writing. And I have to finish this. I was going to say, when you guys get the tuner, try Dadgad. Because I was like going to say that because we were talking about the tuner and we forgot to give some time to the tuner. So I'm just saying, everybody go try that out. But yes, I was 14 when I started working there. And I have never stopped. My last EP, State of Mind, I actually did locally in Blackwood, which is a whole other story on my time working with Jamie Meyerson, who's incredible. But I was still working in the Shoals even when I worked locally. I love it there. I'll never leave.
I haven't got to go down there yet. Mike has asked me to come down and do some touring, and we've talked about going down. I want to go just because of the history, I mean, you got, the blues, come on.
Yeah. And honestly, very peaceful there. Like where I live right near Philly and everything. So it's very busy. It's always, we're going 100 miles an hour. And you can probably feel it in my energy. Because whenever I go to, Alabama or anything, everybody's like chill and like slow-mo. And I'm always just so upbeat because that's how it is around here. It's like New York energy, all of that. But the Shoals is like a great spot to just decompress.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about influences for a minute, because you've got some very, I don't want to say the word eclectic, but you have the non-traditional influences that a lot of country artists or those considered country might have.
Yeah, so I listen to pretty much every genre there is, and I genuinely love it. And I try to incorporate it in my music to create something a little more innovative, because I think it's very easy to call yourself country and make songs that sound exactly country. And I do love country, but my personality has always been like, I don't know, I can't just stay in a box. That just seems very bland and boring to me. So I just like to incorporate different things, because I think I've also developed that from being a cover artist, which has been my full-time job for so long. And then I do like my original stuff, of course, but from playing so many shows while incorporating originals and stuff, you notice in a crowd, some people love country, some people absolutely hate it, some people love rock, some people hate that, some people really like pop. So it has made me so diverse, because I'm like, if I can't grab them there, I will grab them here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I like to bring that same mentality to my original music. I'm like, if people don't like this rock edge, like that I have in Hard Way to Go, maybe they'll like more of the pop edge that I have incorporated in my drama, but has an overall theme of country at the end of the day. But you can definitely hear major differences.
Right. That's one thing about it, because I mean, when you're doing cover songs, you have to gauge your crowd. You have to know who you're playing to. And if you and this is just a example, if you get into Sweet Home Alabama and people aren't moving around and stuff, then you got to test out something else. They're not really a Southern rock crowd or a
Mhm.
classic, or anything like that. So you have to switch to something else. Does that make your sets a little bit more difficult, or have you gotten to the point that it's pretty easy for you to gauge what direction you need to go?
I think it's super easy to tell now, and I actually really enjoy it because, um, I don't know, it feels like entertaining to me to be able to sit there, observe the room, kind of like get an idea, like seeing what they're responding to in the radio before I play. I'm like, oh, they're singing along to this song. So I play it, and it's kind of like a science or like a math. I'm just like, I'm going to figure out this room and I'm going to pull them in. Just give me a second. And I love that feeling. I do love my job. I love doing it.
That's awesome. But we were talking about like the influences. Give me some of the influences that you've kind of grown up musically with.
So when I was really young, it was definitely Dave Matthews, because that's like all my dad would play in the house. So
Mhm.
thinking back, it's kind of funny because now, am with the acoustic guitar predominantly, and um, like love live band sound. So that, I guess, is that inspiration, along with Damian Rice and Glenn Hansard, who are acoustic based dominantly. And I don't know, they're just very forward with what they're singing about and direct, and it's very storytelling. Whereas other influences I have, which are more like pop based, where it's more electronic and it's a completely different world, I love that too. So like my single Bad Decision is more that direction, where it's programming and all that stuff. But I like to combine all of the worlds. So all these different influences mean so much to me, because even rock, I'm super into rock, from like Nirvana, Pearl Jam, um, and like more emo bands where it was like A Day to Remember and Rise Against. So I'm literally
Mhm.
all over. And I think having a diverse amount of influences is very, very useful in a studio
Right.
and developing who you are. I don't know. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I grew up on, a lot of everything, but it started with mainly like acoustic stuff like Dave Matthews, Glenn Hansard, Damian Rice.
So, have you ever sat down with a song to write it and you're going, okay, I want to start it out this way. And then it kind of shifts to a little bit of maybe an emo feel, like a Rise Against or something like that. And yet you still make it country.
Yeah. So like I did that a lot with my very, very first record I did when I was like 14. But my voice was so young, I kind of like buried it on the internet. I'm like, let's take that down and start over. But that was like very hardcore like rock influence, because also Gary, who produced that record, Gary Nichols, he loved Led Zeppelin, like you were saying, like the Shoals loved Zeppelin and stuff. So it was like, he was like, you want some country rock influence? I can totally do that. So we did that. But Hard Way to Go, I kind of took that same thing where I was taking the inspiration from rock,
Right.
but I also brought um like that pop contemporary influence with the rock and the traditional Muscle Shoals sound by hiring a synth player from Nashville, which he kind of did like this cool lead thing that you'll hear on the track and stuff like that. So yeah, it's with the rock edge, but I try to not rock out as much as I guess I did in the first record when I was younger, because I was like, I love rock, but I want to incorporate a little more country too.
Right. So with the influences that you have, I mean, you talked about, listening to, and I'm just going to go with some of the more familiar, like the Dave Matthews and Rise Against and some of those folks. And I was listening to your Spotify and have been to prepare for tonight. And you've got a cover song that you did by Billie Eilish. You've got, I think it was on your Spotify.
Yeah.
You've got Nirvana, Heart Shaped Box. And then one of the songs when I first got into radio, it was 1984. This song came out in 1985, and I was working overnights at a pop station and playing this song, and it got to be one of my favorite songs of all time. And that was Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill.
That song, I swear there's like a bug in that song because I had it come on a Netflix show one day. It was like when the credits would scroll, and I never watched the credits, but that song came on and I was like, stop. I called my friend Jimmy, that like he's like a local producer here. And I was like, listen to this song right now. We're producing this. We have to collab on this song because this song just changed my whole life right now. And then he sang on the track as well. Maverick is his artist name that he goes by. But my God, I love that song, man.
Yeah, I was going to ask you who did the other vocals on there. I actually had that question written down because I thought, man,
Yeah.
Kate Bush did the whole song, and then here you're coming in the first verse, and then he comes in, and then you guys harmonize on the chorus, and I'm like, whoa.
So his name is James Smedili, and he goes by the name Maverick, like I said. Very talented. He works at Breed Studios in Philadelphia. So he
Mhm.
does a lot of work engineering and producing alongside his original artist career. But I love working with him. I actually did Heart Shaped Box with him as well. He produced all of that. And I love creating music with him because it is so natural. We both have like this moody vibe that comes together where you're talking about inspirations. Like we both love the ambient sound. That's where we like are the same because he works on a lot of rap stuff and hip hop, which I enjoy, but obviously like my voice is not going to fit into that genre. So
Right.
the thing where we meet in the middle is that ambience. And yeah, we always incorporate that when we do our covers together and stuff.
I mean, even listening to Heart Shaped Box, I mean, uh, it doesn't, you don't get into the hard, gritty guitars in the chorus as much. It's
Mhm.
just kind of a laid back, easy feel, but you still get the gist of the song and then running up that hill. I really should have had it pulled up because I just absolutely love that song. I don't know if I can do that real quick or not, but it was just to play a little piece of it so people can hear your version. Um, well, maybe not.
That's okay, guys. Go check
My
it.
phone is not cooperating right now,
That's okay. But
but
we had a great time arranging it because I just remember I was like, can we just do something to stack harmonies? Because when you listen to Kate Bush's version, she has so much going on. And I said, I want it to be different. Like that is a masterpiece that we are not going to touch, but we'll make our own twist on it. You know what I mean? So that's when he
right,
started just layering all of his harmonies underneath the chorus. And I was like, oh, this is it. This is exactly what I was picturing.
right. And this, I got to do this. I'm sorry, I got to do this. I love that the intro, a little
It
fade
doesn't
up.
hurt me. Do you wanna feel how it feels? Do you wanna know? No, it doesn't hurt me. Do you wanna hear about the deal that I'm making? It's you.
Okay, that's all I'm going to give them. I'm just going to tease it because they're going to have to go to your Spotify to get the rest. But the thing about that song that really gets me is it is so in line with the original. I mean, if you go back and listen to it, I don't think it's been a long time since I've listened to Kate's version, but I don't think the original had that swell as much in the beginning. But
Yes, we definitely did like a lot of changes, especially with even my cover shows live. I never want to sound exactly like the artist, and I always want to put my own twist on things.
right,
So we did nods that we would never ignore in like her original version, where it's like kind of like the yeah yeah yo's and like the little stuff like that that are major hooks in the song.
right.
But we try to like modernize it, I guess, a little, where it's like 80s. She was super ahead of her time, first of all.
Right.
But we just use like more like synthy stuff that we've heard in, you know, a bunch of influences he and I had together in like,
Mhm.
you know, the electronica world and like all that stuff. And yeah, we kind of just try to combine both of them, but to also be, I don't know, respectful to the original while also being innovative.
Right.
Where she actually, I feel like she did more things going on that I thought were awesome. Like we did more of a dialed back version, kind of like the heart
Yeah.
shape, but we
Yeah.
did.
It.
So how much could we do?
Yeah, it sounded like a very complicated song back in the 80s. I mean, of course, I was working overnights at a radio station. So, you know, by 4 o'clock in the morning, everything sounded pretty doggone complicated. You know?
That song, I don't, there's just so many layers. There's very few songs that I can like think about right now and be like, there's so much production going on right.
Mhm. Yeah, her producer, and I don't know who produced that song with her, but my gosh, man, they were all over the place. And of course, it was kind of, you know, you had like, I'm gonna really date myself here, but you had like, you know, you had the electronics that really came out. You know, you had the Flock of Seagulls, and Dire Straits was doing a little bit of that stuff too with the keyboards. Well, theirs were more guitars, but they made them sound a little different. You know, the Simmons drums that had that very distinctive sound to them. A lot of
Yeah,
bands were doing
that's
that.
fun. I wish it would come back more. It kind of is. There's a lot of 80s influenced artists out
Mhm.
now that nod off to that stuff, but I just wish it was a little more prevalent. Um, because it's just like awesome. Like I don't know. There's some artists now, like I feel like churches and stuff that kind of they do some things that remind me of that time, but I would love to see more of it.
Right. So, talking about songwriting for a second, because you do the majority of your songwriting. I mean, you have co-writers, but you are involved in all your songwriting.
Yeah, and I write some of my own songs too that are out.
Um, it, what's the one song that you just go, "Dang, why did I not write that?"
So many, like everything I love. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, let's see. We can start with "Running Up That Hill," then we can
Yeah, running up that hill. Talk about that every day. I'm like, why did I not write that?
Yeah.
The Scientist by Coldplay.
Mm,
That song I think is beautiful. And that's an alternate tuning. We were talking about tuning earlier. That
right.
song has a cool tuning. Um Man, just like anything by Casey Musgraves. I just love the controversy in like her songs and everything too, like Merry Go Round or Biscuits. I just think she's a cool writer. The way she kind of describes life, I think is
Right.
cool.
She is probably one of the most versed at storytelling
Yeah.
that is supposed to be a mainstay of country music, and she does it in a very good way, but she does, I mean, her stories are very kind of covert, you know, follow your arrow, which that wasn't very covert, you know, you just follow whichever direction you're going.
Yeah.
But she does sometimes it's kind of a, you know, you have to listen to get the meaning type of thing.
And I love that. So
Yeah.
she's somebody definitely I listen to her stuff and I'm like, wow, this is a moment. Like this is so good.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about, you know, Biscuits, and I was mentioning Follow Your Arrow. White Horse was another one I think that she had that I really liked, and her first album was probably the one, excuse me, was probably one that I really enjoyed a lot. Her second album was pretty good. I haven't got to listen much to the latest one she's put out because I think she's put out like 3 or 4.
Mhm.
But the latest one that she's put out, I haven't got to listen to. She just released it a month ago, maybe.
Yeah, I saw some of the videos from it. She's another one. She must have like so many influences because this one's very pop oriented, the
Oh,
new
yeah.
one. Where she started super traditional country in the first one with like blowing smoke and stuff like we're talking about. And then now it's very much reminding me of Melanie Martinez. I don't know if you heard of her, but she's
Mm,
very pop and like kind of theatrical with her storytelling and visuals. And when I watched Casey Musgraves, she did kind of like a movie thing. Melanie Martinez did that with K through 12, the movie, which is about her record. It runs through her record with these visuals. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, I'm glad to see another artist doing this. But yeah, Casey definitely kind of changed her sound, which I respect and admire.
Right. Is that just playing off of that for a second? Is that kind of is that something you would ever look at doing? Kind of with the video aspect?
I definitely would. So for the first time, I just worked with a video crew in Nashville to record a video for my drama, which will be out next year. But that's the first time I really got to tap into, I guess, like an acting side. I've done videos before, but I kind of just like felt like myself, whereas this one's a little more chaotic, I guess. But I really loved the whole process of it. And yeah, I would definitely love to do more like that and create videos and like storytelling. And I love when artists do short films, they call them now, where it can be even just one song, but they make it like a whole scene. And I think that's cool.
Um, how do you feel like that you are different from the country artists, like the females out today? Or do you see a difference in between what you're doing and what they're doing?
Well, we were kind of talking about Casey, how she's kind of going in a different direction. But other than Casey and Taylor Swift, I feel like people very much stay in their little box and they're comfortable there. What I feel is different is like I kind of refuse that. And I know it's kind of hard in the business because you're like, how are we gonna like market you? Like people don't even know what to expect. And I'm like, it has an overall true like sound, but I think what's different for me is I'm not scared of testing different, themes and sounds. And
Right.
I'm also a co-producer on like all my stuff, so I would never want to like shove myself in a corner and be like, all right, this is what people expect of me, this is what I'm gonna put out, which is very successful and works. But I guess what makes me different is I just can never see myself doing that. I know like Linda Ronstadt, she was kind of like that. They never really could pinpoint exactly what her sound was. And I feel like it's been so long since we had an artist that kind of was just like, this is my ever-changing sound. So I kind of want to do that.
Okay. And that's cool because you got to be your own person.
Yeah.
Bottom
I
line.
want always to be like country themed. So that if you want to call me a genre, call it country, but definitely still changing it up, whether it's like more synth related or driving electric guitars or, Americana storytelling. Like I just love hitting it all a little bit, where I guess that kind of comes into being more of a writer too. Cause I know, like Mara Morrison all started in Nashville writing for other people and then herself, and she put out that country record and then The Middle, which was pure pop collaboration. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's like a lot of avenues and routes out there, and I would love to like explore that more and try to break barriers and be innovative and help future artists, even though, I'm not still like that place where people are like, oh, like you've done so much for us. But that's my goal, hopefully one day.
So I've heard this term of late, and I read, trying to think, there was a website that I saw it on a long time ago, and then I've been hearing it a lot on satellite radio, and it's a term that they have deemed and call alternative, which
Yeah.
is kind of like alternative country.
Hmm.
Do you feel like you would fit into kind of that sub genre? Because country music has so many: country pop, country rock, there's country rap, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Because actually, when we were talking about this record that's about to come out in the new year, it's going to be called My Drama, which is my latest single, but that's the title track for the record.
Mhm.
When we were thinking about, what would we call this genre, it kind of was like country alternative or, like roots Americana. So
Right.
yeah, that's like kind of like what we came up with when we were trying to come up with like a description of how we would describe the sound. For sure.
And I've had a lot of artists on who call their music, just different stuff. It's not necessarily country, it's their own vibe, and some of it has been, well, it's all been really good. I can't think of one off the top of my head, but I've had like 4 of them that have come up with something different besides country, which fits what they're doing. And that may not fit you as much because, quite honestly, listening to your music and talking to you, I don't really see you as the kind that would be on stage wearing a cowboy hat, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, yeah, there.
So I don't see that as, kind of your defining trait in the music. I think, you're more that, like say the Casey Musgraves and kind of the, little a little, I don't know what I don't want to say left or right of center as far as country music goes,
Mhm.
because I don't want people to think I'm talking political, but you're not right there down the middle country, twangy, have to have the steel guitar and that kind of thing. You're very rounded in what you do.
I do love lap steel. Like, I definitely hope that's in my future, but yeah, I don't like to be too predictable or like,
Mhm.
you know, whatever's expected, I guess. But I feel like country is my term just because when you hear me sing, like no matter what genre it is, I guess I have like some sort of natural inflection in my voice or something that people always compare to country.
Mhm.
Like when I sing like any genre, people are like, "Oh man, um, country." You know what I mean? I'm like, "All right, cool."
All
What-
right.
what-
Well, I tell you what, let's do this. Let's go ahead. I've got my drama queued up here, and I want to play that, and I want people to kind of hear what your sound is. And then we'll talk about the song a little bit, kind of get a backstory on it and stuff like that. And we'll do that right afterwards. Sound like a deal?
Perfect.
All right. Again, want to remind you before Nashville, being brought to you by Go Tuners. It's a tuner that's been. I'll actually have a. This is the size of this thing. It's like major huge. Fits up on the headstock. You can see it from anywhere. It's got a great screen. It has a good technology. The technology is called green you're in, red you're out. Very simple. You're in tune if it's green, you're out of tune if it's red. Mine usually stays in the red if I try to tune a guitar. But go check them out, gogotuners.com. Now, let's get into what we're here for, and that is Megan Knight. This is my drama on Before Nashville. And that is Megan Knight. It's called My Drama on Before Nashville, where we introduce country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. Now, I read somewhere where you were basically a self-described drama queen.
I'm a little dramatic. I'm a little dramatic. But that song is about, you know, kind of just finding the person that will accept the depth of who you are, the demons, the trauma, deal with my drama. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, that's honestly what it's kind of about, is finding that right person that's meant for you, because nobody's perfect. And yeah.
I think we had about 10 people on here, and when you did that deal with my drama, it must have been all single guys because they all left. No, I'm kidding. They're like, I'm out.
Trouble.
Oh, that's too funny, though. So let's get into just Megan as a person, because we've talked a lot about the music. Well, before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about my drama, the backstory. A lot of people write from experience. And so where did that song, how did it come about? What gave you the inspiration? And what guy is it directed to?
No. I don't know. I was just in a situation where I was with somebody that I genuinely loved. And, you know, when you love somebody when you're so young, it's like hard, you know? And it was kind of just about, you know, living in a relationship. It was like my first, I guess, real situation. And it was long distance and stuff, so it was like difficult.
Right.
But yeah, it's about, like, you know, if you know it's the person that you love them. And I don't know, I can never get over it, so I wrote a song about it.
That's one way to do it, though.
Yeah.
You know, you put your feelings on paper. What do you feel like that the we'll kind of talk about writing songs for a sec here. Do you feel like that the pandemic has helped you as far as your songwriting? Has it given you a little bit of a boost? Has it kind of, you know, bummed you out to where you just don't feel?
It has helped me so much, because since I was 13 years old, I never had a break. Like, I've been playing shows every week of my life or doing something related to music since I was 13. So COVID was the first time it really kept me in the house and not playing or writing or doing anything. And it honestly helped from a spiritual standpoint, where it made me focus on who I am, and like genuinely unrelated to being an artist or musician, because that's for a long time all I could ever see. And from missing out on a social aspect of my life for so long, because I've been doing this full time, it's kind of like I never had that time with myself to really figure out who I am. And it, in turn, it helped my writing, just spending time by myself and, you know, figuring myself out outside of music, I guess.
Right. Just
So it was
that kind of
inspiring.
finding yourself thing.
What?
That kind of finding yourself, you know?
Yeah, it was really important, and it definitely helped with my writing. I definitely feel, um, I don't know, I guess more open-minded and stuff, because when you're working super hard, I feel like your brain, it can't like totally relax and just open up, because you're like, everything's so fast. And from just sitting still and doing nothing and just you're watching TV or whatever, I became inspired in all different ways of writing and stuff, which is cool. Like, I love watching like film, like different TV shows and movies that would inspire me, or books, you know. So it's just all these different outlets, because, you know, you're sitting at home for so long and you're bored. I'm like, I'm making the best of my time. And I just found all these different ways and inspirations to write.
And that's, I mean, the exciting thing about that is that you're using the time very positively. You know, some people didn't, you know, some folks may not have been as productive.
Like, it's a good time for everybody to decompress. I feel like
Oh yeah.
we're all running all the time. You know what I mean? And I feel like it was an unfortunate event, but it was kind of a humbling event, I feel like, for a lot of people, to kind of just go back and just live in the present. And I think people are living a lot more in the moment now. I know we were talking a little bit off screen about the fact that it's kind of cool. I feel like people appreciate being in the present moment with their friends, their family and stuff now, because I don't know, it felt like a little awakening or something.
I believe that. I think it did. I think it kind of boosted a lot of people. Unfortunately, I didn't get that downtime because I was considered an essential worker, but
Oh,
but I can see, I mean, where it would help people to decompress and realign themselves.
yeah, that's like the perfect word, because I don't know, I feel like a completely different person from before
Mhm.
the whole quarantine thing and then after, because I don't know, I just feel like I've grown as a person in some weird way. I really got into like spirituality and stuff, which goes back to this crazy stuff I'm into, I guess. But it's really good. It's like shadow work and stuff. It's like a lot of journaling and digging deep into who you are, what your childhood was, all this stuff. And I don't know. I feel like I really needed that time.
Right. So if you weren't doing music, what would you be doing?
Oh man, I think definitely an entertainer of some sort, because I love that. Like, I love talking. Since a little kid, I would set up my camcorder and have my own little like news show and like talking podcast, and I'd also like sing to it or whatever before I even thought of being a musician. Like, I just always loved entertaining and putting on shows for my family. I would make them all go downstairs in the basement and I would just dance around for hours. And no, I cannot dance, but like I'm turned on, like I had this keyboard that would play music and I hit play and I would just dance all around. I have like these stuffed animals. Like, I was always an entertainer, so I'd probably be like a news anchor or something. I don't know, something. I'd be totally down.
And it's funny because when I was researching you today, I was doing some last minute stuff, and so I Googled your name, and I don't remember where she's at, but there's actually a news anchor named Megan Knight.
Yeah, there is. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and I can't remember where
With the
she's
name, you're like inspired to entertain. Oh, these rhymes. Whoa.
at, and it's just wild. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of cool. If you could go out on a stadium tour with an artist and open for them, who would it be?
Oh, Morgan Wallen. I love that.
He's about to go on a stadium tour.
No, I think our sounds like would sound so cool together, because I would love to get on a duet with him, because the tonality of his voice.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just picture it in my head. Sometimes I'm like, we need to get on a song together, and then we could come out for the one show, the one song during the show in the set. You know what I mean? And I'll just go out and sing and get back off. They'll be like, oh, the opener's back. I just pictured the whole thing.
That and kind of do a little bit of a theatrical entrance, you'd have to kind of get people excited for it.
I'll go do a flip.
Right.
I'm just kidding. I can't do a flip.
I started to say, if according to your description you do a flip like you dance, that might not be a good idea.
Oh, I actually broke my arm really bad doing a round off one time in the
Oh,
backyard.
ow.
Well, my arm's messed up since I was like a young girl. This is actually part of my story. I played softball for a lot of years.
Mhm.
And because I could no longer play softball because I broke my arm so many times, because it's always had an issue and it just never got better, I picked up guitar. So it was a good, unfortunate event.
Well, there you go. It was destiny.
Yes.
There you go. That's awesome. Now I'm going to reverse that,
Uh-huh.
because now you are on a stadium tour and you get to handpick two openers. Who are you going to pick?
Oh my God. I think Rustin Kelly. He is awesome. Great writer. And Tyler Childers. Is that how you say his name? Childers? Tyler Childers.
Yeah, Tyler Childers, yeah.
That's who I would pick.
Very good. The first one I'm not familiar with. What'd you say?
So Rustin Kelly, he's a great,
Rustin Kelly.
more of the singer-songwriter type of vibe, but I guess it's kind of country inspired.
Uh-huh.
Why
have I not heard of him?
He's cool. Like, I like his song Black Magic a lot, and Hollywood.
Okay. Well, I wrote his name down, so I'm going to check him out.
Yeah.
And Tyler, I know Tyler. Well, we don't go out and have beers every weekend or anything, but I know of Tyler. Let me
His
rephrase.
music is awesome. Like it evokes some different emotion in me that I don't hear in other music. Like it's just very different in an amazing way. I'm like trying to explain it. I'm like, I can't even find the words to explain what I feel when I listen to his music, but it's cool.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I just noticed up here we've got a comment here. Let's just put that. This might be somebody you know. I don't know. Maybe somebody I know.
Aw, well, thank you. Thank you,
Uh,
Ryan.
so that's one of the joys of this. I get to kind of put that over there so you can see him. But I do a part in the show, and it's kind of a fun little thing. And I have an intro, and I don't want you to be offended by the intro. I'll just tell you that right now. But I just kind of ask off the wall questions. Okay.
Okay.
So
Nervous.
this is a little segment that we call
What the hell? What the hell? The hell? The hell? What the hell? What the hell?
So if you haven't figured out by now, it's called What the Hell? I just like to ask random questions, and it's those questions where you just look at me like that question is right there on your forehead almost. And I usually have everything set up, and I failed to do that. But one question that I have that is not in my little deck of questions here. With Christmas coming up, you know, there's Christmas movies everywhere. What Christmas movie would describe your life?
Elf.
For some reason, I knew you were going to say that. I really did.
He's nuts, just like me. He likes
The whole part where he's like, I can't even do it, but the whole Santa, I know him part just cracks me up.
Oh, that is totally my energy. I love it.
It's hilarious. They moved where did they move my stuff to? There they are. I'm like, where did my things go? Here, that's just too weird. Okay, if animals could talk, what animal would be the rudest?
God, I'm taking way too long. Let's just say a tiger. And I don't know why. It's just like the only animal that kept repeating in my mind. Like, hurry up, just do something.
Yeah, like I don't have a clock on here, so you're good to go.
I need a clock. I need like a countdown. Like, I'll just start saying random answers.
I need that little, like the Jeopardy theme. That's what
Yes.
it is. Do you have a signature move or quirk that people notice or comment on?
Yeah, when I play, like when I sing and stuff, I don't sit still. I cannot physically stand still or sit still.
I can see that. you just, just your energy. You're doing fine, but it's just that energy. This is one I love to ask because it's kind of one of those odd ones, super odd. What would be the creepiest thing you could say while passing a stranger on the street?
The strangest thing I could say?
Yeah.
Like listen to my music or something, because I would never do that.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I would never say anything weird to people. I don't know. That stuff freaks me out.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, It wouldn't be like there's candy in the van.
No, I'm not even messing with people nowadays. People are just look at the news.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's just there's no telling what would happen.
Yeah.
If you could marry a fictional character, who would it be?
Oh my God. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Why am I so bad at this game? Did I just I don't know. Troy Bolton from High School Musical.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Sure.
For those that don't know. What What Guinness Book of World record could you hold in the future?
I think like holding the longest note because I cover Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, and everybody always like gets out their timer when they know I'm playing that song. Like my and followers that come out because I know that I hold this one note and they're like, "Oh my god, are you gonna beat it?" And it's like so long. I don't know. I guess
So you have this little do they like slip you pieces of paper and say, "Okay, this is how long you held it. You have to beat that the next time."
no, they're just kind of like they have their phone. They're like, "Here we go." I'm like, "Okay, here we can go."
Now this one isn't so weird, but it is one that I want to ask. How many times a day do you check your social media?
Probably like five.
It's not
Five.
bad.
I don't know. Unless I'm like actually going on to post something that I'm supposed to be posting. Um, yeah, like five.
And social media has gotten to where it's just taken over everything, you know. So, um, what would be the most absolute worst name you could give your child?
Mm, the worst name, blanket. I don't know why the kid blanket.
Blanket night. Well, I mean, you know, if you're married, it would change, but
Blanket. I can't. I can't name.
at least you didn't say starry.
Oh, I could do that either.
Do you have any phobias?
Um, this is not like a phobia, but I can't stand like mean people or judgmental people, rude people. That disgusts me. Like the phobia, like what are you scared of? That. Like I just don't like negative energy like that.
Right.
Like I don't know, like when people are super rude to waiters or waitresses. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Is that one of those things that makes you just want to like go over to them and just share your thoughts at that moment with them?
I like sit down like this and be like, "Are you okay? Like that was so mean. Like how do you treat this innocent person with attitude? Like no."
Right. I mean, they're just out doing a job.
Yeah.
So I've got a list of your upcoming shows here. You've got a show tomorrow night. Is it no Saturday night? I have
Mhm.
to think of the day. I've been thinking it's the third all day today. I don't know why.
My time's really off too. Like this getting dark early stuff does not work well with me. Like
Mm-mm.
I'm so thrown off.
Well, I'm getting old, and it's like by 6:30. I think it's 10:30, and I feel like I need to be in bed.
My friends and I feel the same way because of the like we're just not adjusted to this time thing. I wish they didn't like,
Yeah, they
change
just need to do
time
away.
anymore.
The Congress just get rid of it, just stop it. We don't need it anymore.
Right?
You have Sugar House Casino Saturday night. It even says Saturday on here, by the way, but I didn't read that. I just looked
That's
at
okay.
the dates. Sugar House Casino at 6 o'clock. That's in Philadelphia. And then the next Saturday you have Mud Hen Brewing Company. That sounds interesting.
Oh my god, it's so fun there.
Is
So
that is that kind of like a craft brewing place?
yeah, they have really good beer there. Their food's amazing. And then usually they'll have the heat lamps outside so you can still play outside in the winter and they have like fire pits and stuff. So it's just like this whole vibe. I love it.
All right. Well, Mud Hen Brewing will be sending you the invoice for that little commercial right there.
Right?
And that's in Wildwood, New Jersey. Then you got River House at I'm going to say this and probably say it wrong, Odette's.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. And that's on December 15th, which is a Wednesday night. That's in New Hope. Um, Elaine's Cape May at 6 o'clock on Friday the 17th in Cape May, New Jersey, and then River House at Odette's again in New Hope on Wednesday the 22nd. They just have live music on Wednesday night, or
Yeah. So they're having me there every Wednesday besides when I'm in Alabama or
kind of a house band thing there.
Yeah, so it's fun. I actually played at their other location for a long time in Cape May, the Reeds, and then they wanted me to try out like this new venue. They actually built this during COVID.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, they're trying to build, you know, like kind of more of a party crowd on a Wednesday night because they usually do like piano bar stuff. So they're just trying to make Wednesday nights more of the contemporary music kind of day, I
Oh,
think. Yeah.
that's cool. Pretty cool. And then I didn't click more upcoming shows. That's pretty much all you have right now. This is bands in town. Um, and you may have some others coming up. Um, people have posted on here. That's pretty cool. Jennifer, that was from 2017.
It's probably my mom. People follow me on bands in town, but I didn't even know you could comment on things.
Yeah, I didn't either until I saw this fan reviews. I'll have to remember that. But those are some upcoming shows that you have. People can find you if they're wanting to find out more about you. Best place to go.
Either my website, which is right there on your little screen,
Mhm.
or my Instagram and Twitter is Megan Knight 20, and my TikTok is Meg Knight 20, which is a very interesting place to go. But yeah,
Uh, so, so how about those Yankees? No.
yeah, we're not Yankee fans. Baseball, you're talking, we're
Yeah.
Philly.
Oh, Philly fan. No, I just say that because whenever I don't know how to get out of something, I usually make a sports reference.
Oh my god.
And I totally blew that one because I should have known to go with the Phillies instead of the Yankees, but,
Well, they're very much like they're Philly fans here or they're Yankees fans, and it is cutthroat.
mhm.
Yeah, that's a rivalry around here.
It's kinda like the St. Louis Cardinals, which is my favorite team, and the Cubs, Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, whatever you're close to, there's always a little
Yeah.
mixed bag there.
Yeah, it gets ugly. It
Yeah.
gets ugly. I went to one game, I was the only Cardinal fan in a sea of Cubs fans, and I was at Busch Stadium where the Cardinals play.
No way.
I don't know how my ticket wound up there, but it did. Thank goodness my son, who's a Cubs fan, but he's also a police officer, thank goodness he was carrying.
Oh gosh.
'Cause I told him, I said, "If it gets ugly, you better use it."
Protect me, my son.
Exactly. You're supposed to serve and protect your dad.
It's so funny.
So they can go to your website. They can find now if they go to the website, they can find all of your. Let me get over here. I think all your socials are on there, right?
Right.
Your
So
link, okay,
it's Megan Knight Music. I think you look up in the search bar.
right,
Um, my music page comes up. But yeah, everything is linked right on the website.
right. It's got all your the little logos up there that you can click on and go to the YouTube videos, or you can go to Instagram, Twitter, um, Facebook, TikTok's not up there. Um,
Yeah. That's like new. They
yeah,
just start a TikTok because that's where of course the world kind of is going now. It's like the number one platform. So trying
right.
to figure that one out.
I don't know that they even have a logo. I haven't seen that on anybody's page yet.
Yeah, I don't know if they have like the little button yet.
Yeah, but everything else is up here. So you can go to Megan's to her website. That'd be the best because you can also go. I'm going to make a quick click here. If you want more music from her, you can actually click on store. She's got her State of Mind EP in there, and her. I guess this was your debut album, Megan Knight.
Yes, that's the only place you can find that because it is buried now.
Oh, is this the one that has the that you did? Is this the one when you were 14?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna add that to my cart real quick. Start blasting in my truck, and people,
Aw.
well, who's that? That's cool though. That's really cool. I hate that it doesn't like if you click it, it doesn't show you the songs. Did you write the songs? Because it's like a 3-song EP, wasn't it?
Oh, that one's full length, the Megan Knight
Oh,
titled album.
okay.
And then State of Mind's an EP that I did with Jamie Meyerson, and then I'll have an EP coming out in the new year.
And that's the one that is My Drama is the name of it.
Yeah.
after the song that we played earlier. So I'm looking forward to that. Do you have a date yet, or can you release a date? I mean, is it like an NSA covert thing that?
Actually, we don't have a date yet, and that's only because I'm actually going down next week to start on my next project. So it's kind of, we're going to have like a meeting with my producers and stuff and try to figure out all those little details.
Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
keep an eye out for Megan and new music from her. In the meantime, keep listening on Spotify. Again, go to the store. You can get her stuff there. As always, I try to encourage folks to support these artists. You can support them by streaming their songs, and you can support them by going to their websites and their stores and ordering merch if they have it, or CDs or whatever. So make sure you do that because, as much as I want to see you in a stadium, you're still right now, and maybe not the whole meaning of this word, but you're still kind of a starving musician.
Yeah, 100%. Trying
You
to
know?
figure out what it takes to get to that next level. I always said the next thing I want to do that I'm trying to manifest is just opening up for, a bigger band with playing my original content. So hopefully
Right.
that's my next step.
Well, we'll keep that thought, and we'll try to get the vibes and everything good for you on that, so that it'll happen pretty soon. But go check out Megan Knight, and it is megannightmusic.com, just like it is right there on the screen. And give her a shout. Go to her socials and say, hey, we saw you on Before Nashville and wanted to say, hey, promote. That's what we have to do in this business, no matter what. And just real quick, as we wind things up here, Monday night, we have the band McMillan coming on. They're a sibling trio, and they'll be joining me on Monday night. And again, Megan, Saturday night is going to be out playing. And if you're in the area, go listen. If you tuned in and you're, haven't really got to see her, go check her out. That's what it's all about. Go to their shows, get the merch, get their CDs, stream their music. Let's help these bands out. That's what we try to do after we introduce them to you. So until next week, Megan, thank you. And next week, I guess. Megan, thank you, and appreciate you coming on. It's been a blast, and we'll keep an ear out for new stuff from you.
Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. And again, it's Before Nashville, where we introduce the country stars of tomorrow to the country fans of today. And it's been brought to you by Go-Go Tuners. It's a tuner that was developed by pro musicians and is for pro and amateurs alike. Check them out, gogotuners.com. Until next week, you guys have a great night and a good weekend, and we will see you then.